Has debate jargon become too much of a chore? Does every round you enter leave you wanting to know more? Well, look no further because one clap is the key. It's time for Professor Graham and Kevin's ABCs. Hello, debaters. Welcome back to another episode of Professor Graham's ABCs of Debate. I'm Professor Graham, here with my pal Kevin, and today the word of the day is going to be negative block. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The negative block is a policy debate term that exists because of the disproportionate time bounds between the affirmative and the negative around the middle of the debate. After the 2AC, the negative team has 13 minutes combining both their constructive and rebuttal speeches to develop as many arguments as they can fit into that amount of time. And after, the affirmative only has 5 minutes to respond to all of it. It's a massive time imbalance that helps the negative come back after not getting the first or last speech in the debate. Realistically, you have one goal: ruin the 1AR's life. Because you have so long to develop arguments, the focus should be on argument diversity, developing as many good ones that you think can either win the round or pose enough of a threat to force the AF to answer them. Simultaneously, the goal is to hyper-develop the weakest parts of your arguments so your opponents are mortified to even contest you on some points. If you have an economy DA, for example, but the link is fairly pathetic, the affirmative is probably hoping and praying that you don't cover it so that they can sneak out a win on that page. But there's nothing that crushes the 1A's spirit like adding 4 links in the 2NC. In its most basic form, the negative block serves to be an evil catch-up mechanic. Alright then, Kevin, let's talk about specifics. In policy debate, the negative block has a couple of specifics that make it extremely powerful. Number 1, the ability to split up your arguments between 2 different speeches. We call this splitting the block. Because both speeches happen back to back, this is the only set of speeches where you don't need to cover all pieces of paper in the debate. If your 2N takes the counterplan, the DA, topicality, and solvency, you, as the 1N, can take a different DA in your rebuttal and just hyper-focus your preparation on that one piece of paper the second the 2AC ends their speech. This split allows you to put some arguments in one speech and some in the other. There's no need to announce that you're splitting the block, especially not to announce what arguments your partner is going to be taking in their speech. The magic of the split is that you can keep the 1NR nebulous until it actually happens, which means you put the 1A on even more of the back foot when maybe they were prepping for the counterplan, but you choose to go all in on T, negating all prep work that they might have already done for the counterplan. Number 2, you get the opportunity to protect the goods. If you have a really good DA or a really good counterplan, for example, then the negative block offers you the opportunity to hide your best arguments and shield them from cross-examination. After the 2NC, there is still CX that interrupts the negative block, which means the affirmative might have a chance at catching back up after questioning some of your scarier arguments. The 1NR, however, is completely shielded from this because the AF won't be able to ask questions on positions that haven't been brought back up yet. Not to mention, the negative should be able to get at minimum 11 minutes of prep time for their 1NR, because you get the entirety of the 2NC, all of CX, and any extra prep time that your partner took for their 2NC prep, all to prep out your own speech. The absurd amount of prep time should be reflected in your in-depth warrant comparisons, tons of pieces of evidence, and really deep impact calculus. The benefits of splitting the block are miraculous. There's never going to be a time where you don't want to split the block. Not doing so is a terrible idea, mostly because you're literally going to be saying the exact same things over again. If you and your partner cover both DAs, both counterplans, the T, and your case arguments in both of your speeches, you won't get time to go in depth. All you did is speedrun overviews or answer one argument on all the pages, which isn't sufficient to win a round on. Additionally, Additionally, if the point of your 1R is just to cover up mistakes made by your partner, you signal that you're a jerk who thinks that your partner is bad, and also that you don't know what you're doing because you're just wasting time. I promise there will be times where your partner asks you to cover something that they maybe missed, that they really want in the 2NR, but these moments are far and few between. Always split the block, never cover the same piece of paper. The negative block can be a little bit confusing and maybe even a little bit daunting, but I promise you'll get the hang of it sooner rather than later. It's very simple. Just don't repeat yourself. Got anything to add, Kevin? Power? I hardly know her. Hey, thanks again for watching today's episode of Professor Graham's ABCs of Debate. As always, I'm Professor Graham, and that's my pal Kevin. Yeah, if you ever need any help with debate stuff at all, my email should be right up here. Just make sure you CC your coach. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can with any debate tips that you might need. I'll drop that knowledge on you. Bam. Thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. See y'all later.